First we'll talk about the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme, the special talent visa. One of the great things about Hong Kong immigration is that we've got a huge amount of flexibility, both in terms of how policy is construed and how policy is configured or arrived at. And quite a few years ago, the Immigration Department realised that Hong Kong was lacking a certain type of visa that was facilitative of foreign nationals who have a particular talent, who can come to Hong Kong and make a contribution without having any need for a specific rationale for being here. And so they introduced the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme. The Quality Migrant Admission Scheme anticipates that you have got some very special talent about you. It actually is devolved into two particular streams of applicant. You've got something called the general application, and you've got a special application. The special stream is designed for those people who are Nobel laureates, who have represented their country in perhaps the Olympics, have won some international prize, or are basically just such supreme talent that at first glance an assessment of their particular skill set means the Immigration Department are going to say, yes, we want you. So if you don't fall into that category, then I'll stop talking about it. Does anybody fall into that category here? All right, so I'll move on to the general points assessment. And this is the more typical route to a special talent visa, or the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme visa. And this is where you have to have a minimum of 80 points out of the potential 165 points that they ascribe to you on an assessment of your particular talent set. And prior to getting the 80 points, you must satisfy a number of must-meet criteria. Effectively, the Immigration Department are looking for you to be a graduate, preferably with a higher advanced degree. And they then look at your background in great detail, and if they think that you've got a certain profile in your prior pedigree that allows you to accumulate points as they assess them, then you end up with a certain number of points. And once you've got past the must-meet criteria and a minimum point count of 80, you then go into a selection pool. And in that selection pool, the problem is that you don't know who you're competing against. And therefore, once you've finished your application processes, you wait for the selection committee to sit down and then determine all the applicants that they've got, and of those applicants, who score the highest and which industry sectors they fit into. And if they believe that you are of sufficient talent to merit an approval under the programme, then you're home and hosed. That's the theory. But actually, if you look at the history of the programme, you realise that only 23% of all applications ever get approved, and of those 23, 77% come from China. So it really shouldn't be called the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme, it should be called the Quality Mainland Migrant Admission Scheme. Very, very difficult to get approved under, and the problem is, as an immigration advisor, it's a black box. You've no idea what the Immigration Department, what value is the Immigration Department ascribing to your particular application. You don't know who you're competing against, and for all practical purposes, I believe it's a lottery. But if you look at the types of people that are on public record as having been approved under this programme, under the general points assessment test at least, you find that you're really very special. You are, for example, a psychologist with a particular niche, say in art therapy, or you're an ice hockey instructor, or you have something about you that is just not of the mainstream. These people don't grow on trees. So it's not a programme that I specifically actually provide advice for, because I don't think I can add any value in the consideration process because of the way that the application, as I say, is conducted very much behind closed doors and without any real visibility as to what the criteria are ultimately for approval. So it means I can't give anybody any decent determination as to what their chances of success are under that programme. But the good news is it doesn't cost you anything to apply. All the stuff that you need to make the application is available on our website, and you're not negatively impacted if you make an application and you get denied. So it's worthwhile at least having a punt, if nothing else, if you're prepared to put in perhaps 20 to 30 hours of your time over the course of the 1.5 years that it takes normally for these applications to play themselves through. Okay, so that's the Quality Migrant Admission Scheme.